Hello, Internet. Welcome to Fueled Conjecture, where you can listen to me talk about motorcycles and say the F word at traffic and just otherwise rant and rave as I ride around. You'll also see some videos about mechanical things and working on motorcycles, because I actually enjoy that just as much as I enjoy riding them, sometimes more, and just other general things like that. Alright, so I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about my bike. I feel like that's one of the many things that should definitely be covered in a vlog, but I am riding a 1987 BMW K75 S. It is new to me this year. I bought it back in October in non-running condition from the lovely folks at Bob's BMW down in Maryland. I drove about 5 hours and 5 hours back to go pick this bike up from them, kind of sight unseen, so it was a little bit risky as I live in the Hartford, Connecticut area. I don't know what that guy was doing. But it ended up working out really well. It wasn't running. I only paid $1,100 for it, which is a song and dance for this bike. It just needed some fuel system components, the fuel pump, the fuel filter, and that kind of thing, and then it was up and running. It's been great since then. Let me tell you a little bit about it, and in a minute I will hop off and show you what it looks like. So the BMW K75 S is an inline 3-cylinder 750cc motorcycle. It's a little unusual as it has an engine block kind of like a car. When I pull over and show you guys a look of this thing, you'll be like, that looks like a car engine. Well, it's because it is. BMW started off designing this bike based on the inline 4 that they were designing, I guess, for the Renault 104 car at the time. The original version is the K100, which is the 1000cc 4-cylinder version of this bike. The 3-cylinder version, which this is, has a balancing shaft to smooth the engine out, and it is so smooth. Like, you can run this thing at 80 miles an hour on the highway all day long, and it won't shake, it doesn't rattle, it's great. But anyway, the unusual engine configuration on this bike leads them to last for a very long time. This is a bike that will go over 150,000 miles if you take care of it. This one only has 25,325 miles on it, so I'm just breaking it in. Even though it's almost 30 years old, it must have sat for a while. It's pretty dirty. I've coated it in Plastidip because the paint job was really rough when I bought it, because this master cylinder reservoir was leaking everywhere, and the DOT4 brake fluid just ate right through the paint. So this winter, when I have time and I'm not riding it, I will give it the proper paint job it deserves and have it looking sweet. But yeah, this is my ride. This is my third motorcycle. Before this, I've had a Honda XL 175 Dual Sport from 1978, and then in between that one and this one, I had a 1975 CB 360T, which I already miss. I really wish I could have kept that bike, but in this area in New England, the value of Honda CBs in good shape from that era skyrocketed, and I had always wanted a bike like this, so I just really couldn't pass up the chance to make money swapping out that bike for a BMW with twice the displacement. But anyway, this bike is what's called a sport tourer. It's kind of a compromise between a sport bike and a touring bike. So the S in K75 S, oh, these red lights, does stand for sport. I feel like this segment of motorcycles is kind of being taken over by the adventure bike category, like the BMW GS, the Kawasaki KLR, the new Honda Africa Twin. I feel like those kinds of bikes are kind of edging these out. But I really like this because I'm not a big off-road guy. I mean, I've done it and I can do it, but I don't do that primarily. My dad has a KLR 650, which I will ride for you guys at some point in this vlog. And I just don't feel that it's as smooth on the highway, in tight corners and things as this is. And I wouldn't want to compromise the on-road handling of this bike for off-road ability, because honestly, I'm not going to ride off-road very much. If I ever decided to ride off-road much, I would buy a dedicated bike for that, I think. But, so I think the Sport Tour is great. I have done some touring on this bike. I toured around Canada a little bit. I recently came back from Montreal, where I went up and camped for the Formula 1 race, and this bike was great. Didn't skip a beat. That was my first big trip on it. Other than that, the farthest I'd ever been was Hartford to New York City, suburbs outside of Hartford, Connecticut, where I live, to try to get to some better riding roads than I have right here. So pardon me as I deal with city traffic for a bit. This road always scares me a little bit just because there are a lot of distracted drivers. Pretty much everyone I see in a car next to me is on the phone or yelling at their kids in the back seat or fucking with the radio. So I just ride around here and everywhere for that matter, like every single person is trying to kill me on purpose. Alright, so here she is. As I said, the engine block is big and square, kind of like a car. It has like a bunch of car parts. As you can see, it has been dropped. It fell over as I was working on it while it was loaded with touring gear the other day. So that's why I didn't bother putting a new paint job on it right away. This bike is very tall for me. I'm only 5'5", and I can only touch on one foot at a time unless I'm really on my tippy toes. Here's the other side of the engine. Looks just like a car engine. These are some stupid running lights I experimented with. I am taking those off. I bought cheapy ones at Harbor Freight to see if I liked the idea of running lights, and I did not. The exhaust is stainless steel, 3-into-1. I love it. This bike is fuel injected. It's controlled by a computer that's under the seat. It's not really a computer, it's kind of like an analog logic thing. It's pretty cool. I like this bike because the engineering on it is really interesting, and it's just not pretentious at all. It's just designed to last forever and to perform well. No one really gave a shit about what it looks like, hence the big brick down there, but you know what? I don't mind. I think it's great. So as I work my way into some more interesting roads, let me tell you what I'm going to try to do here with this fueled conjecture channel. Well, that's exactly what it's going to be. You'll just get to hear me rant about things. Sometimes I'll be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to tell me in the comments. I admit that I am often wrong. Prepare for me to accept that I'm wrong and probably not care, but I will accept when I'm wrong. So if you think anything I'm saying is wrong on this or any future video, please do let me know. Ah, I love this road. The thing is, cars always drive so slowly here, and I find myself driving slowly here when I am in a car. Or on a bike, it's just so much fun to take these corners quick through this awesome tunnel of trees. I love it back here. But anyway, yeah, I am attempting a sort of motovlog of sorts, and hopefully it'll work out. I'm guessing that I'm not going to like the way my voice sounds on camera, and I'm just going to have to get over that. Maybe I might have some technical wiggles to work out with this camera setup with this janky microphone I bought at Radio Shack, but we will see how it goes. I feel like I might have things to say, probably more about the mechanics of motorcycles than riding them, so maybe it won't be as much of a motovlog as it will be me filming myself cursing at motorcycle parts, but we'll see what it turns into. I'll just let it go where it's gonna go. So we shall see. For those of you who are wondering, right now we are in Avon, Connecticut. It's just outside of Hartford. I don't live there, but I live near there. I'm not going to tell you where I live, obviously, but that's where we are. It's a pretty area. It's very suburban. There is some nice riding further north of here, but today I'm just kind of tooling around the suburbs just so I can talk on this thing and talk about my bike a little bit. Personally, I like this road because it's twisty and fun, but a lot of people in cars cannot, for the life of them, figure out how they want to drive back here. There's skinny lanes and all sorts of things that people in minivans, which is most of the people around here, just freak out about. Like, you'll see this coming up here. But anyway, I really like this road. Another guy on a bike. Damn. Nothing ruins a good riding day in a twisty road than following a fucking dump truck. Gotta be kidding me. Why would you bring a truck that size down this road? You're just ruining it for everybody else. There are so many ways around this by going on main roads. If I were driving something that size, I would not come down here. And I have driven something that size before. I've towed a large boat before. It's like that, but longer. And I would never drive that down here, so I have no idea why this dump truck man is coming down here, unless he's delivering things to this area, but it looks like that truck is empty. These things like that, I just don't get it. Why? So, as I approach my house and get ready to turn the camera off, I'm just gonna say thanks for watching. If this is something you found interesting, you can subscribe by hitting the little subscribe button. I'm gonna do a lot of talking about motorcycling in general as an everyday activity. I don't ride just for fun. It's how I get around most of the time. I do own a car, but I'd much rather be riding a bike. So you will see a lot of vlogs about that. If you're interested in what it might be like to try to ride a motorcycle all year round in a cold climate, you might get to see that as it gets colder, because that is something I am going to attempt. So this is going to less be about a blog about the latest and greatest bike that does this thing, or sport riding, though I am going to attempt a track day, maybe even on this bike at some point in the near future, hopefully. But this vlog will be less about new and exciting gear and new and exciting bikes, so I will talk about those things, and more about everyday motorcycling as transportation. I do a lot of touring, motorcycle mechanics. I try to do all my work on my bike myself. So if you're interested in those things, this might be the kind of vlog for you. If there's anything you would like to see on here that you think is within my abilities, please say so in the comments. Alright, thank you for watching.